Hey guys, so we're moving on to the next set of notes and the last set of notes in Unit 3, and that is talking about what we're referring to as the triangle inequality theorem. So the triangle inequality theorem says that the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle must be greater than the length of the third side. Okay, so that's what the theorem actually says. Now, what does it actually mean? What you're going to be given is you're going to be given now the side lengths of a triangle, and you have to determine whether they can be a triangle or not. So what you are going to do in order to solve this is you are going to add the two smaller sides, okay, together. And if they are greater than the length of the third side, then they are a triangle. Then they make a triangle. Okay, so you're going to add up the two smaller sides, and if they're greater than the third, then they'll make a triangle. If they're equal to the third, they do not make a triangle. It has to be greater than the third. Okay, so if I look at the first example, the two smaller sides here in the first example would be 18, whoops, would be 18 and 8. Okay, so 18 plus 8 is in fact 26, but 26 is not greater than 26. So this is not a triangle. This cannot be the side lengths of a triangle. If I look at the next one, you've got the two smaller sides are 3 and 3. Well, 3 and 3 together make 6. And 6 is also not greater than 15, so this is not the sides of a triangle. In the next one, I've got some decimals that I'm dealing with, so I'm going to take 9.0 and add 16.6 to that, and that would be 25.6. And that is indeed greater than 24.7, so this is your first example of a sides that can be a triangle. And then in the last one, if I add the two smaller sides, which are 12 and 6, 12 and 6 make 18. And 18 is in fact greater than 15, the third side. So this can be the side of a triangle. Okay, so you're adding up the two smaller sides and seeing if they're greater than the third. And then there's another way to put it. Then they're gonna ask us to write it. So in other words, we're still doing this same theorem, but this time we say it like the length of a side of a triangle must be greater than the difference between the two other lengths and less than their sum. So how we write it is we want to take whatever they give us for side lengths. So in this case, they give us a 10 and a 16, and we're going to take the difference between those two side lengths and put that answer here. And we're going to take the sum of those two side lengths and put that answer here, because that's saying that the third side must be somewhere in between the difference and the sum. Okay? So looking at those two side lengths that they give us, if I take the difference between the two, 16 minus 10 is 6. So I would say 6 less than x less than 16 plus 10 is 26. So our final answer would be written like this. So the two side lengths that they give us, we're just going to add and subtract them, and we're going to put them in the right order to say that the third side must be in between the two. Okay? And then the last one in 3.4 is talking about side angle relationships in triangles. So basically, when you are looking at a triangle, the side or the angle across from a side are corresponding to one another. And what I mean by that is if 51 is the smallest angle measure in your triangle, then that tells you that the side across from 51, which we would call line segment AB, must also be the smallest side in the triangle because it is right across from the smallest angle. Similar when they give you side lengths, okay? So if you look at the other picture, 17 is the largest or the biggest side length. So that tells me that the angle across from that, which is known as angle A, must also be the biggest angle measure. And that's what we mean by corresponding side to angle relationships, okay? So look at our example. It wants us to order the side lengths in order from least to greatest. So first what we need to do is we need to figure out what angle I is equal to because we don't know how much angle I is equal to yet. And we need to know that amount in order to determine the biggest angle measure and the biggest side, okay? So in order to find out angle I, remember all angles in a triangle add up to be 180. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the two angle measures that they give us. I'm going to add them together. So 73 plus 64 is 137. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract that from 180. So 180 minus 137 is 43 degrees. So I know that angle I must indeed be 43 degrees just by subtracting my two amounts of the other angles from 180. Now that I have all the angle measures, now I can do the side relationship and order them from least to greatest. So notice that your smallest angle now is angle I. And if I look at the side across from angle I would call that side KJ. That must be my least side length, my smallest side length. Then I would look at the next one, that is the next smallest, and that would be the 64. Looking across from the 64, I would call that side length IK. So that one would come next. And then my last angle measure, my biggest angle measure is 73 degrees in angle K. And again, I'll look across from that and I would call that side IJ. So when I put them in order from least to greatest, it would be KJ, IK, and then IJ. Okay, all because I found out the angle measure. And then we're going to do the flip side of things, and they're going to give us side lengths, which they give us all the side lengths, and we got to put the angles in order, okay, from least to greatest again. So again, if I look at all my side lengths, 6 is the smallest. So if I look across from 6, that's angle B. So I'd put angle B first. Then the next biggest side lengths, or the next smallest, if you want to consider it that, would be the 10. And if I look across from the 10, I have angle C is the next biggest angle. And then my last one would be the 15, the largest side. So across from that side is angle A, which must be the greatest. Okay, so that's how side and angles correspond to one another. Take your time with this and let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.